Hello students, a warm welcome to all my students to Pramati Hillview Digital class. Dear students, today I am going to take up my favorite chapter, My Childhood, written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir. Dear students, before I start the chapter, I would like to give an introduction of the chapter. My Childhood chapter tells us about our beloved, the most respected Abdul Kalam's childhood. This chapter tells us what challenges Abdul Kalam sir faced after he was born in conservative society, how hard he worked to go on to become a great scientist, how his family, his teachers and his friends influenced him during his childhood. I can assure you that you are going to learn many valuable lessons from Abdul Kalam's My Childhood chapter. Then, why to delay? Let's start. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram, in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, Jainaluddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram, in the erstwhile Madras state. I was born means here I refers to Abdul Kalam. Abdul Kalam says he was born into a middle-class Tamil family and his place of birth, Rameswaram, is an island town in the state of Tamil Nadu in the Bay of Bengal. Today we know the state as Tamil Nadu, but when Abdul Kalam was born, at that time the state was known as Madras state. My father, Jainaluddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate means inborn wisdom, and a true generosity of spirit. The meaning of true generosity of spirit means his soul sought to help others who were needy. APJ Abdul Kalam says his father's name was Jainaluddin. He also says that his father wasn't rich, wasn't highly educated, but despite these disadvantages, he had some other qualities. He was naturally wise and he was generous too. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyama. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyama. Here he refers to Abdul Kalam's father, Jainaluddin. Ideal, suitable. Abdul Kalam's mother name was Ashiyama. She was a suitable wife for Jainaluddin. Kalam says she was helping his father in all his deeds. She was very supportive and she was ready to help her husband all the time. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. APJ Abdul Kalam's mother was very kind-hearted. Every day she used to feed a lot of people. She fed a great number of people from outside than the total number of the members in their family. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large Pakka house, made of limestone and brick, on the Mast Street in Rameswaram. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks. Undistinguished means ordinary, born to tall and handsome parents. means Abdul Kalam had many siblings, and he describes himself that he had short height and common looks. He did not have any exceptional looks. On the contrary, his parents were very tall and very handsome. He says, "My parents were good looking." Kalam did not inherit any of these physical qualities. APJ Abdul Kalam's ancestral house was very old. It was built in the 19th century. It was a Pakka house which was made of bricks and limestone. It was located on the Moss Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. My austere father, austere, simple, strict, and severe. Abdul Kalam's father was very simple, but he was also strict. He wanted to live his life in a simple way, and he used to teach his children not to waste money on unnecessary things. APJ says that his father used to avoid any kind of inessential comfort and luxuries. He provided them all the necessary things like food, clothes, and medicines. Kalam says that his parents fulfilled all his needs, whether it was any tangible thing or their love and affection. This shows that Kalam had the quality of gratitude. APJ is thankful to his parents for whatever they did for him. Abdul Kalam was just 8 years old when the Second World War broke in the year 1939. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Moss Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Moss Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Anna means an old Indian coin worth about 6 paise. The demand for tamarind seeds increased in the market. Abdul Kalam was too young to understand why there was a sudden demand for tamarind seeds. Kalam used to collect and sell the tamarind seeds to a provision shop located on Moss Street. He would earn a mere sum of 1 anna, which equals 6 paise. He addresses it as a princely sum. At that time, 1 anna meant a lot of money to him. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. APJ Abdul Kalam's brother-in-law Jalaluddin used to tell him the stories of the ongoing World War. Later, Kalam used to read the newspaper Dinamani and used to look for the news of the same stories. Our area, being isolated means lonely, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon, India was forced to join the Allied forces. Allied forces, the armies of United Kingdom, United States of America, and Russia during the Second World War. And something like a state of emergency was declared. Rameshwaram was a small island town. It was very far away from the land, so it wasn't affected by the World War in the beginning. But after some time, India had to join the war and combined with Allied forces. Then the state of emergency was declared in the country. Dear students, do remember, during emergency, President's rule is implemented. A lot of privileges which are given to the people are withdrawn. The first casualty loss came in the form of suspension of the train halt at Rameswaram station. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameswaram road between Rameswaram and Dhanushkodi. The first impact of Second World War on the people of Rameswaram was the cancellation of the train stoppage at the Rameswaram station. Earlier, the train used to stop at Rameswaram and then it was moving towards Dhanushkodi. But now the halt was cancelled and the train started moving to Dhanushkodi without stopping at Rameswaram. With this, the newspaper bundle, which used to come to Rameswaram, was thrown out of the moving train as it reached Rameswaram road. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameswaram, to look for a helping hand to carry the bundles, and as if naturally, I filled the slot. Filling the slot means fit into a place easily. APJ Abdul Kalam's cousin Samsuddin used to distribute the newspaper in Rameswaram. As the train stoppage was cancelled and the newspaper bundle was thrown out of the moving train, he needed someone to help him to catch it. Abdul Kalam helped Samsuddin by catching the bundle and distributing the newspapers. In return, Samsuddin paid him a salary which was APG's first earning. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. Here I refers to Abdul Kalam. This incident happened 50 years ago. Even now means at the time of writing his autobiography, Wings of Fire, Abdul Kalam sir feels he is very satisfied and is very proud to himself. APJ says that whenever someone earns his own money with his hard work, he feels it the same way he did. Dear students, we have come to an end of the first session of the chapter, My Childhood. In this session, we learned that Kalam was born in a middle-class Tamil Muslim family in the island town of Rameswaram. We learned that he had a materially and emotionally secure childhood. We came to know about his parents, Jainaluddin and Ashiyamma, that they were very generous, kind, and they believed in the life of necessities. And we also came to know about how Abdul Kalam earned little money during Second World War by collecting and selling tamarind seeds to the provision shop as a child. Also, we learned about his first wages as a help for catching newspaper. I have a question, students. Aren't you inspired? Aren't you motivated? Aren't you curious to know more about APJ Abdul Kalam? I'm certain you all have been inspired, motivated, and you are more curious to know about Abdul Kalam. Some more exciting and interesting matters of Abdul Kalam will be taught in the next session. Until then, bye children. Take care.